Hello and welcome to another session on Google Drive. You would think by now that I would remember to unpause my mic, so I'll make a note and try and remember that for next time. Anyway, welcome to our session on Google Drive. This is going to be a 2-hour session up until 3 o'clock. We're going to have a little half an hour break halfway through the session, and we're going to look at the benefits and features of Google Drive, which is really an online version of all the other programs that we're quite familiar with, such as word processing, spreadsheets, and PowerPoint presentations and things like that. So we're going to look at mainly Google Documents today, which is Google's equivalent of Microsoft Word, if you like. It is a free online document or word processing program, and we talked through some of the benefits last week in a quick overview. All right, so that's what we're going to look at today. So if we just have a quick look at the course and where we're going to be and where we've been. So last week we looked at an overview of Google Drive, which is basically a suite of different software packages provided by Google. That's all online, and we looked at all the different versions that's available and how we can quickly and easily use them. So I'm going to have a little recap for 5 minutes at the beginning of the session. Today's session, like I mentioned, we're going to look mainly at Google Documents, but I'm going to show you a cool feature that I came across later last week, and it was linking a spreadsheet, which is Google Sheets, with Google Documents, and how they can be linked. So you can update one thing and it will automatically update in another. Just noticed a little typo there on my slide. I'll have to update that soon. So that's today, and the following 4 weeks we're going to look at different aspects of Google Drive. So we'll probably look at more Google Sheets in a little bit more detail in session 3. Google Slides, which is a PowerPoint presentation type of program, that's going to be looked at in session 3. Session 4, we're going to look at Google Forms and how we can use those to kind of compile data, which then can be put back into Google Sheets. And then there's a drawings package that Google offer, which I find really useful, and it's actually a feature that I might touch on in Google Documents today, because there is a really stripped down embedded version of that in Google Documents, and I'll show you how I use it to create basic infographics and things like that. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. As always, we urge you to look at our enrollment forms if you're interacting with these sessions, even if you're going through them live with me now, or if you're going respectively and going back over it at a later date. Please complete our enrollment form. They look a little bit like this, and it's really important for us to kind of log our learners so we can keep an eye on these in order to satisfy our funding or our funders, who are the National Lottery. All right, so it's just basic information there: course title, your name, things like that. So if you could fill that in, that would be much appreciated, and send them to us via our social media, or there'll be a link that we'll put on our YouTube channel. All right, so that's our enrollment form. This is really important for us to just log our learners, guys. So I really urge you to have a look at these forms and fill them in. You don't need to fill in all the details. It's just, if you fill in like section A, put your name in there, and really just to kind of log your learning, that would be fantastic. Okay, just put what you can and what you're comfortable of submitting. Don't feel as though you've got to submit everything in terms of telephone number and things like that. Okay, we won't share your information, and it will conform with government guidelines. All right, so don't worry that we'll be doing anything untoward with that. It's solely for our funders. Okay, in order for us to put on these sessions, it's really important for us. All right. We've also got a survey, which is really important for our development as media savvy tutors. And it really, again, it's a very, very, very simple form that logs your learning experience throughout this session. All right, so if you've got any feedback you would like to put in there, please put your feedback in this form and submit it. It'll take very little time. I think I recorded it once and it took maybe, I don't know, a minute. And that really helps us with our learning as tutors and how we can develop our sessions for future classes. All right. Just for your information, this document here was created in a program that Google offer called Google Forms. So if you look at our course kind of pathway, if you like, in session 4 we're going to be looking at Google Forms. And Google Forms, and I'm just going to quickly show you while it's on my screen, Google Forms can be branded up. It can be can have your company name on there or your organization, and you can tailor make your own forms to log information. Okay, and this is can be really important to gather feedback, to gather customer details and things like that, you know. So I'll show you how to use this. It's really simple to use. I've only used it a couple of times, but it's very intuitive. So watch out in session 4, I believe. Yeah, session 4, and I'll talk you through that, and then we'll see how we can link that to spreadsheets as well. I haven't done it before, but I'll definitely look into it so I can equip you with all that information that you need. All right, so that's our survey. Okay, then, that out of the way, what we're going to look at today. Right, today we are going to look at Google Documents, like I mentioned. We're going to look at file management within Google Documents, the document outline, how we view our documents, the different presets embedded into Google Documents, how to insert things like charts and breaks and bookmarks and links. I don't usually use these, but when I've done my research for today's class, I looked into this and I found this really helpful. So I'm going to show you how to do that, especially if you're creating documents, big documents like essays and dissertations, for example, where you might want to put some links to where your research has come from and things like that. Also, if you've got a really lengthy document that might be, you know, up to 100 pages plus, you can insert links within your document where you can then say, for example, if you create a table of contents, which we'll be looking at as well, that you can send you or take you straight to particular sections within your document. Okay, so that's really useful. I'm going to show you how to do that. Fonts, the fonts available and how we can look at bringing in fonts into Google Documents. Word count, which is obviously really important for those of you who are creating documents or creating word processing pieces that require a certain limit on word counts. And then this other cool tool that I found last week, which was a voice typing tool. Really useful if you're narrating something and you want to, maybe your own work. Let's say you prefer to use notebooks, or you're writing a little story or a novel or something like that, and you might prefer to handwrite. Well, this feature here, the voice typing, will really help you quickly digitize that information. Obviously, you would need to go through it and edit it yourself, but to get the bulk of that information there, you could literally sit there with a cup of tea, read your book, and it will type it in for you. Okay, so really cool set of features. A few of these features I've never used before, but I've come across them and I think they're going to be really useful for you guys. All right. Now, as always, please interact with us on our live chat. Really appreciate that, and also it really helps us kind of steer our sessions for you guys as well. So, you know, if you've got something in particular that if you're watching live and you've got anything in particular that you are you're interested in, or I've gone a little bit too quick or whatever, please put the comments in our live chat here. And as you can see, we've got Susan online at the minute. And please let us know what we can do to try and help or improve our teaching live. All right, we'll be able to try and incorporate. We'll try and incorporate anything that we possibly can within these sessions, providing it's relevant. All right. Okie doke then. So let's have a look then. So just a little quick recap on last week. So what is Google Drive? A lot of you might be asking, and in a simple format, it's a replacement or a different version of Office, Microsoft Office, that a lot of us might be quite familiar with now. So in Office, Microsoft Office, and there are others available. There's a one called Open Office again, which is a free. Well, Microsoft Office isn't, but Open Office is a free, open sourced version of Microsoft Office. And they have this suite here offers different software packages. So, for example, it offers Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and your emails, which is Outlook. Okay. Google Drive offer a comparative, which is free, and it's online. And I talked to you about the benefits last week. And one of the key features I think that is so reassuring and brilliant that comes with this is that it automatically saves you work when you're working, so you don't need to worry about losing any of your work. Every time you make any change, if it's a full stop or a space within documents or your sheets or whatever, it automatically saves, which is absolutely brilliant. The amount of times I've lost work in the past for not saving or power cuts and things like that, I dread to think. So that's a really cool feature. So Google Drive is a version of Microsoft Office. It offers its equivalent version of Word, which is Google Docs. Excel, it's Excel's alternative, which Google Drive offer, is Sheets, and Slides, which is PowerPoint's alternative, if you like. And then Gmail is the email account that comes with it. Now, with Google Drive, you need to sign up. Just like any other email account, you sign up with your username, password, and some basic information. A lot of you might already have a Google account, because we do need them nowadays for our mobile phones to set up Google Play accounts. So a lot of you might already have that, and it'll allow you access to your email and these other cool applications as well. All right, so that's what Google Drive is. It's really useful. Now, where Microsoft Office has been quite strong in the past, especially in the quite far past, when we didn't have cloud storage, Microsoft Office had you had to store everything on your USB or your computer, directly on your computer. Okay, whereas it actually now is available on a cloud, which is basically a term used where all the information is stored online. Okay, Google Documents isn't like that. It is all online, and you can download the relevant documents as you need them. So, for example, if you're creating a CV in Google Documents, you would create your CV, edit your CV, and then you would download a copy of that onto your computer, and then you could open that up in Microsoft Word or equivalent, make the changes, and then re-upload them. But there will be a central file already on the cloud under your account details. Okay, so that's Google Drive. Google Drive looks a bit like this when you log in, and it is very similar to your File Explorer, where you can navigate under your account where to locate your files, basically. So you can share files with people, you can open recent files, you can create folders and organize them that way, and it's very, very easy to use. You can also search in the search bar at the top. Right, last week we looked at creating a CV, a very basic CV, where I showed you how to use some basic headings, how to insert a table, and how to insert an image. So we're going to kind of push on with that and make a fancy document in today's session. All right. We also looked at Google Sheets last week. If you remember, Google Sheets is a word. It's not a word processing. That's Google Docs. Google Sheets is a spreadsheet application within Google Drive, and you can use it to calculate basic numbers such as your personal monthly finances, or more complex things that businesses and organizations might want to create invoices or calculate VAT calculations and things like that, so that's very useful as well. And we've done a quick basic spreadsheet last week just to show you some of the basic elements to that. We also done a quick PowerPoint, well, it's not PowerPoint, but a quick presentation with Google Slides, which is the equivalent of PowerPoint. And I showed you how to create your own kind of branded presentation and the different ways you can add text and slides to your document there. And we'll be looking at each one of these different applications in more detail in the forthcoming sessions. Okay, so what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at creating a restaurant menu, okay, using Google Sheets and Google Documents. So what we're going to do is we're going to create something that looks a bit like, if I can bring it up, this is something I was just trying to design the cover for now, but this is what we're going to see if I can create this make this a little bit bigger so you can see. We're going to create something like this. So this is, I worked on this page earlier on this morning in preparation for this session. There's a lot of tweaks that need doing to this, but basically you can change the background color. You can add images to that. You can create nice headings, different columns and things like that. So we're going to use this really because it's a 2-hour session. It can be a bit dry talking about word processing, so let's try and be a bit creative and try and create a nice little document within Google Documents that you might be able to use. These tables, well, these are inserted tables that are copied from Google Sheets, which is this spreadsheet here. So I think this is a really cool tool to use, and I haven't really used it myself, but the benefits of this is absolutely fantastic. So what you can have here, for example, is you could have a restaurant menu, which is 2021, okay? It might have been a 2020 restaurant menu, okay? Your prices might have went up the following year, so it's now 2021, and let's say your rice dish. This is a really posh restaurant. Your rice dish is 50 quid, right? Really, it's like the rice is made out of gold, right? So it's actually going to go up even more, right? Because of COVID and all that, gold rice is hard to come by, and it goes up an extra £5, right? If you look at that now, that's changed, hasn't it? So if you go into Google Documents, it's already linked in. Can you see? It's now prompting me to update these. And if you look now, if I zoom in a little bit, you're going to see here that rice dish there is updated. So the benefits to that, I think, are really strong. So for example, let's say you're a restaurant owner. You might have somebody designing your menu, and you might be deciding the prices of your dishes, for example, or your chef might be. So they could be working on this document, and as you're working on this document, the prices will automatically update, which saves you a lot of time and minimizes any errors, okay, or a lot of errors. So we're going to look at doing that today, guys. That's what we're going to do. All right. This is like Blue Peter. This is something I made earlier, but we're going to do it from scratch. right? So if we're ready, I'm just going to quickly have a quick look at our chat, make sure everyone's all right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new document. Okay, so once you've signed into Google Drive, you can do it in many different ways, but I'm going to do it from the most obvious. All right, so once you've signed into Google Drive, you're going to be looking at a screen that looks like this, and it's going to have the location of files here, the location of where the files might be, whether it's on your Google Drive account itself, shared files or recent documents. And then if you move into this box here, you're going to have your most recent documents that you've been working on. What we are going to do is we're going to create a new document. So we're going to click on this button, we're going to scroll down to the documents section, and we're going to create a blank document. Now, as mentioned last week, there are templates out there, some really cool templates which we could use as a base, but what I want to do really is I'm going to create a blank document just so I can show you how I got to a document not like that, but maybe like this. Okay, a few of the things I haven't really done before until I created this document, so we're just going to work our way through them. And if you have any suggestions on how you think this can be improved, give us a shout on our live chat, and we'll incorporate that as well, and we'll create this working document together. Okay, so there's a few different elements to this document. We have the background base color, that's one of them. We have the bottom image, which repeats on the other pages, that's 2. We have the heading, that's 3. We have the inserted tables, that's 4, and we have columns, which is 5. So we've got 5 things going on in this document that we're going to try and recreate from scratch. I think that's quite easily achieved between now and our break at 2 o'clock. We're going to break at 2 o'clock for about 10 minutes. Allow me to get a cup of coffee and take a break for a bit, and hopefully you guys can do the same, and maybe have a revisit and see how we can try and improve this in the next half of the session. But that's what we're going to look at now. So we're going to create a new document. A new document will look like this. So you've got your controls and your tools at the top. You've got your different options at the top here in terms of editing your file, viewing your document, inserting things, and what have you. And let's get started. I'm just going to quickly go back to our list. We've got quite a lot of things that we want to go through today, and as I'm creating this document, I'm going to try and tick a few of these things off. Okay, so we've talked about Google Docs. That's great, we've done that. Let's tick that off. We've talked about file management. Let's tick that off. We document outline. Okay, let's have a look at that now. So let's see if we can. We'll save that one for the time being. Viewing documents, we're going to talk about that now. Okay, so there's different ways you can view your document within Google Docs, and if you look at this button all the way over to your right, and there's a pen there, this means this document is editable, and it's editable by me because I'm the creator of this document. All right, but if you click on this little down arrow, there's different options here. So there's a suggestion option. So for example, if you're working on this restaurant menu and you're the editor and you share that with somebody, you might change their controls so they don't make any direct changes to this document, but they might suggest changes. Okay, so let's say for here I've changed that now to suggesting, and what we could do is we could say bigger font maybe. Okay, so that hasn't altered the document. It looks like it's altered the document, but all it's doing is adding a suggestion there. It's not actually editing the document. If we go back to the editing document, you can see that the item there that is in green is just the edit there. Let me take this out a minute. Let's try that again, because I think I might have. There we go. Okay, and then this will allow you to add some text and maybe a bit more information, and then you can tick it. Okay, so it doesn't actually it acts as it's not editing it directly, but it's adding that suggestion. And then you've got a viewing option also here as well. So you can't do anything when you're in the viewing option. You can just view the document. Okay, so if you want to send the final proof to somebody, you could just give them. You can remove those rights. So just to protect the document, to make sure that nothing can be edited. Okay. I need to get back to you on that one because I'm kind of. This is definitely a suggestion, but as you can see here, that's the suggestion that's been put in there. But it looks as though it's directly affecting that document there. That's what I don't want it to happen. So let's take that out. Let's go back. Let's have a go again. So now we're suggesting something. So the way it works, by the looks of things, is in the suggestion mode, you can type things in there. Accept, reject. Okay, right. So you can accept the suggestion or you can reject it. Okay. And let's have a look at the viewing sections here. Suggestions. Right, I'm going to get back to you on that one, guys, because I don't really use this option. So let's work through this together. So that's the suggestion there, and then you can discard that or ignore the suggestion by removing it. You can. What else can you do with this? You can correct that. Okay, let's say we do want to change that to bigger font. Let's see if we can work out what this looks like. Take all that out, get rid of that, get rid of this. Right, okay, now I can see what's going on. Get rid of that, get rid of that, reject that, ignore that. Okay. So let's try again. So we're going to go to suggestion. We're now suggesting bigger font. B. So when somebody offers a suggestion, as you can see, there's a little floating window that appears here, and it edits the text. It doesn't edit the text, but it presents whatever note you put on the document, it presents it on the document, and then you can accept it or you can reject it. Now I'm just going to check something now. I've never really used suggestions before, as you can probably tell, but I'm going to download a PDF and I'm going to see if that PDF has that suggestion on. No, it doesn't. Right, okay. So that confirms me suspicion. When you type in your suggestions there, it just offers the suggestion to the page. It doesn't embed it into the page, as you can see from the downloaded page that we just had a minute ago. Where is it? Okay, so there's the downloaded page. The downloaded PDF doesn't have that suggestion on yet, so it's just what you can see. Okay, that probably really helps with people when it comes to developing a document. Okay, so we've suggested a bigger font maybe. As the editor, I could then go, well, no, I think the font is okay, or I can reject it, or I can say yes, actually we will do that. Okay, and I can accept those comments or those suggestions there, and then I can go ahead and make me edits. Okay, the viewing thing we've already went through, so we've done that. Right, preset form. Hopefully, guys, I've cleared up that one. I was tying myself in knots there because I've never really used that before. But essentially, you've got an editing document, which a lot of people are probably familiar with. You create the document, you can edit. You've got the power to do a lot of things. You can pass it over to somebody else who can make suggestions, and you can accept them or reject them, and it will present themselves on the document, but they won't print out, if you like. Okay. The next thing we're going to look at presets. So the presets are quite cool as well. In that, let's say we've got menu 1 here. We're going to have menu 2 on this page. Let's do that in a minute. We're going to call that menu 2. We might have another page here. We're going to have menu 3 there. So as you can see, all these headings have got a certain style to them. They're a little bit bolder, they're a little bit bigger, and they all fall into a preset text. Okay. Now, what I used to do years ago, well, not actually up until recently, what I used to do would be just to quickly amend me headings on my documents. Type what I needed to type. This is what I would do. I'll actually show you on a document, blank document, menu as my title. I would select it, give it a bold, underline it, and maybe make it a little bit bigger. And then I'll be happy with that, and then I would move on and type my other stuff. Okay, but that gets a bit tired when you've got a lengthy document and you might have lots of different submenus, and that's different headings and subheadings and things like that. So with our presets, what we have is we have a better way of doing that. Okay, so instead of, I'm going to get rid of this. We have preset text here. So we've got normal text, which is just your main body text, the title of your document, if you like, subtitle, and then your headings. All right. So let's say we're going to have our title of our menu. So this might be menu 2021. Or let's make it a bit better. Let's say this is going to be that's using the title, and then we create a subtitle, menu summer maybe 2021. Okay, as you can see, by selecting these different or these different presets, they already come with their own kind of format. So they've got different sizes. When I say format, the text looks differently, so it has different sizes. It'll be some of them it will be in bold, some of them will be different colors, and so on and so forth. All right. Where that comes into its own is, let's say you have lots of different pages, which I'll create a few now just to show you, and I'll talk you through what I'm doing in a minute. I'm just gonna create a few little pages. As you can see, I've got 7 pages there. I'm going to create a heading on each table, on each page, sorry. So go to page 2. I'm going to click on my heading and click apply heading, and I'm going to type this in, heading 1. Okay, I'm going to go down to my third page. I'm going to copy and paste that, change that to 2, go to the third one, make that 3, so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see now you could have 100 different headings depending on how long your document is. We've only got 3 at the minute in our document, but you could have lots more. So instead of going, what I would typically do, because I didn't use this previous, I would go into each one, and if I didn't like the style of that or the format of that text, I would go and change each individual one, which takes a lot of time, especially if you've got a long document. Well, if you go into what you can do with the presets is you can create your own presets or amend your own presets. So let's say we wanted to change that to have to be, I don't know, purple, for example, with an underline and bold. As you can see, the next document, the next heading, because it's got the same preset, it's going to be the same. So all we've done is we've just amended that one. We haven't amended all of them. Let me just check this a minute. And that one. So all we've done is change the color, change the outline, change the color, give it a line, and made it bold. And we've just done it to heading 1. If we then select heading 1, and that's selecting everything that is in that comes with heading 1, the bold, the color, the outline. If we go into our presets, which is up here, and we click the little arrow and click update heading 1, if you click back on there, you'll see that heading 1 has been updated. This is really useful because now what can you expect to see on page 2 and 3 and 4? Well, all of those just get updated. So that's really, really useful in terms of making quick edits to big old documents. Okay, so that's our preset. Now, what else do we have in here that I would like to show you quickly? We're going to look at these two things now. We're going to look at these, and we're going to start creating this menu now. So if we go to the one that I already created, and we go to this page here, what we're going to look at doing is we're going to create a nice color for our background that appears on each page, and then we're going to look at organizing our text and putting an image on the bottom. So if we go into our document, to create the background color, all you do is go to File, scroll down to your page setup. This is a generic setting. So if you've got your page set up, you've got all these different options. You've got the option to create your a portrait or landscape, different page sizes, etc., etc. Okay, and you can change whatever changes you're going to make now. You can choose to apply to a selection that you might have or selected in your document or your whole document. So if you click the whole document, we can change the color of that whole document now. So just for clarity, I'm going to change the background of this document to purple. On the right hand side here, we've got margins. We're not going to mess about with these. You might want to, and all these are, I'll show you what the margins are when we come out of this, but it's just the spaces around your document. So as you can see, it's in inches, so all these are an inch. And there you can see all of our document now is turned to purple, okay, which is obviously presenting a bit of an issue with our subheading, but we know how to change that now, don't we? So what we can do is we can maybe put it into a more legible color, maybe white, for example, and change the subtitle to update that white color. And there you go. All the subtitles, if we do have subtitles throughout this document, will then come with the white instead of the gray. Now your margins are just the spaces around the document. So let's say, for example, I am going to write something here very quickly. Copy this, just make a load of text. As you can see, all the space that is around this document here is that 1 inch. I don't know what's happened there, but it's a space around. All this space here is the margin. So we've got an inch there and an inch there, and if we went all the way to the bottom, we'd have an inch at the bottom as well. Not sure what's happened here. Maybe the text was just a little bit too big, I don't know. But that's what your margin is, alright? I see what's happened here, and you can change this now. You can change that to your different alignments as well, which we'll get onto a little bit later. So there we are. We've changed the background color. We've had a lot of text here, which we don't need. And we've got our first page, and I think this first page automatically already looks better than that one, just for the color, I guess. So what we want to do now is let's look at alignment now, actually, because that's what we need to do for this, say, the first page of our menu. One thing that I haven't done is change the title, but once I clicked on the title, I didn't even type that. It's just chose the title that comes with the document, and it's just embedded it into the name of that document there. So let's have a look at the alignment of this text. If you scroll along your toolbar all the way to this area here, which is about 2/3, 3/4 of the way along, you can see align. Now, any of these options that has a little arrow pointing down means that there's more options within that little button. It's like a drawer within your kitchen drawer, if you like, where you can pull out a fork or a knife or whatever. Here we have our alignment, and a bit like, or exactly like Word, if you like, you can select your text, click on that, and you can align them into the middle, the end, and fully justify them. So that is probably the reason why that text didn't always go to the edge there, because it wasn't fully justified. And what that does is it kind of forces that body of text to the boundaries of your margin. What we want to do for this one is create it centrally. So we're going to have our text centrally aligned, and we're going to move it down a little bit here, so it's in the center of the page. Now, I usually find that it's useful to see the entire page when I'm working on maybe a design or something like that. And you can do that by going to your view section, and you can change it to full screen, or you can literally just go to here and zoom out a little bit, and then you can see that page size, or the page in its entirety there. Okay. So what we're going to do now, if we go back to our document, we're going to insert headers and footers next. So for our document, we have different areas of the document, and the different areas of the document are the main body, which is here. And now what I'll try and do, if I can, quickly do something here. You don't need to worry about what I'm doing here. This is actually using Google Drawing, inbuilt drawing. In fact, I will tell you what I'm doing now. I'm just going to try and kind of section off the page so I can explain what the different areas to the page. All right, it might be a little bit easier. And in doing that, I'll use the inbuilt drawing tool that's built into Google Documents. And if you click Insert, click New, Drawing, New, it'll bring up this extra page which is attached. It's a separate sheet, if you like, that will link it into your document. And here you've got different options here. Now I don't know what actions are because I've never really used that, but you can see there's word art in there, for example, different other things. rulers, guides, snapment options and things like that. You've got your undo and redo, your different zoom options, and then your lines and your shapes. So I'm going to create a shape, and if you click on shapes, and I'll just click on that rectangle tool, I'm just going to create a rectangle. Can't sync your changes. Please copy your recent edits and revert your changes. Let's go through these options for a minute. Okay, what's happened here? We'll get an email. Okay, let's check our emails for a minute. So that's right. That little message that came up did not have anything. This here has nothing to do with this, but this is a really cool little feature that I've just noticed here. Is that this is my emails, and it gives you an email notification to let you know that your document has had some suggestions added to it. So for example, if you're working on a live document with many people using it, you don't need to go into the document to see what those changes there are. You'll get an email notification when changes have been made, so you don't need to keep on going into that document. So that's what's happened there. Request send, let me know. File is shared with you. File should be shared with me. Let's refresh that, reload that. Hopefully that will do something. Right. It's going to log out of this, log into that. Okay. I'm going to share my access. So what happened there, guys, I'll just quickly explain. I've got two accounts open at the minute. I've got my own account open, email account, and then I've got Media Savvy's admin account open. So what's happened is I've created this document. I've shared it with, I've made a link and shared them between the two accounts. And when I was trying to make changes to this document, it was saying, because I wasn't like an editor, I would need to approve the editing of that document, and that's what I've just done. All right, and I'll go into sharing and editing kind of parameters a little bit later. But let's just crack on with this document for now. We'll zoom out a little bit so we can see what we're doing. What I was trying to do was show you the different areas to a page by using the drawing tool. So if we go insert drawing new, I'm going to create a box on my screen there, and then once I've created that box, I can change the color. Okay, I'm just going to leave it, let's keep it as orange or light yellow, and then you can change the line weights and the colors and all that, and you can put text in it and whatever, but I'm just going to keep that box the way it is. Save that. That box will appear on there. To edit that box, you can do basic edits here, but if you want to can change the color of it, you need to go back into here, and then you can do that. All right, so I was talking to you about headers, and I was talking to you about footers. Okay, the header of the document is the top half, not the top half, the top section. Okay, so header is this top section here. It's around about here. Then you've got the main body of the document, which is in the middle, and then at the bottom you have a footer. Okay, now why is this important? So I'm going to create a new document just to show you. So if you've ever seen a novel, or let's say a book page, just going to show you this as an example. And let's say textbook, that might be better. Right, here we go. This is a good example here. I don't know what this is. Hopefully it'll show me a nice image. Open, create, open. Here we go. Right, here we go. So this is a textbook, and at the bottom of the textbook we have little bits of information here. We have the page number, we have the chapter, and we have the title of the book. Okay, this information is all in the footer. Now the only things that will change, but could remain common in the book or in this textbook, would be the page numbers. Obviously that would change every page. The chapter will change, but the actual title of the book will not change, so that will remain all the way through the book. What all the word processing software packages do now, or have now, is a facility to put a page number in. Obviously, if you've got a 1,000-page document or even a 2-page document, you don't really need to type in the number. I've seen it times and times before where people have not really known how to do that, and to be fair, I've been one of those people as well. And for quickness, you might just insert a little text box into your document and put the page number at the bottom. The problem is it doesn't look very professional when you get more pages added to this document, because that changes sometimes the position of that number. The format might change and it just looks a bit of a mess. So what you can do is you can create a footer, and here you can add a page number. So let's quickly go. So let's go back again and click on the insert. Halfway down, headers and footers, and you click footer. If you think about a person standing, the feet is obviously the bottom part of them, the head is the top, so the footer is the bottom part of the document. Then you can type in text here. So let's say the blank document. Okay, so wrote something at the bottom here. Now, if we look, I've wrote that in there. It doesn't affect the main body of your text. You can write as much text as you want there, but this thing here, this footer, will repeat on every page now. As you can see, I've inserted a few pages there, and that will all be added to each page. Now, to edit that, or do a global edit of that, you just double click on it. See, double click in the bottom section, and then you can change that to the worst, maybe. And that now should change on each one. So as you can see, these automatic edits are really powerful if you've got a long document. Okay, so that's what your footer is. Now, page numbers we were talking about, weren't we? So let's double click in the bottom of that to edit it. Options, if you look at the options section, you can insert page numbers, and then you can choose some options here. So you want the page number at the header, at the top of the document. You know, some books might have the page number at the top. Most of them will have them at the bottom. And you can change where the numbers start from. So if you click apply there, as you can see, it's give you a page number at each bottom of each page. So that's very useful. It gives that document a little bit more finesse, I guess. So that's your page numbers. What else have we got on here? Breaks, bookmarks, links, headers and footers. Right, let's go back to your headers of this your documents. So let's say if we go into our restaurant menu. Let's put a page number in there. Okay, we're going to start at page 1 and we're going to click apply. As you can see, it's added the page number to there, but I'm going to change that color to white. Now, I'm not going to change the preset. I'm just going to do it once here because it will do it to all of them on the following pages, and that's what we're going to do there. Let's say we want to change its position, its alignment. Now, if you remember when we've done the first page, we changed the alignment by clicking this button here, the align, and choosing where you want it to go. Let's say we want the alignment of the number to be in the middle. Let's see if we can do that here. Yes, we can. There you go. So there's your page numbers added. Sometimes you don't want your page 1 on your front cover. So let's see if we can do that. If you click the different on first page option, there we go. 2, 3, and 4 follow on, but you don't have that on page 1. That's brilliant. So we've got headers and footers. Right, we've got the footer in there with the page number. Let's put a header in there, and this is called the summer menu, isn't it? So all we're doing here, guys, is let me come out here, double clicking in the top half, the top section here, or clicking insert header. This time, instead of footer, we're going to choose header, and we're going to type in Indian restaurant, and I'm going to put a little dashed line there, summer 2021 menu. So as you are now aware, that should come on each page. Let's say we want that centralized as well, so it lines up nicely with our text, and we want that white. We'll put that in the middle, change that to white. Happy days. Right, so done that. What else do we need to do? If we compare this document to the other one, yes, the color is different, but we've got a nice image here that adds a bit more interest. All this is really possible. It's like so possible in Google Documents, and it's quite easily done. So let's double click on our footer, because we know now that whatever we do to one footer affects all the other ones. And let's insert an image, and let's see what we can do here. So if you click insert image, we've got loads of different options here. We've got upload from our computer. We can bring in an image from our Google Drive account, from our photos, our Google Photos, from our camera URL, like a link, an internet link. But what we're going to do is we're going to search the web for a photograph. Now, I've done a little bit of research recently to see whether these are royalty free, and Google did say that they do try and filter their images so they're royalty free within this feature. However, they do want you to check yourself. So when I say royalty free, what I mean is you can use the images freely. If you are actually creating your own menu for commercial purposes, and you're going to print 5,000 menus, and they're going to have somebody else's images on there or anything like that, you need to make sure it's royalty free, or you've actually credited that individual for that image. When I say credited, it could be you might pay for the image, or you are actually putting a little note on that image to say that this image has been created by a different individual. All right. But what we're going to do now is we're going to look for the spice image, and if you look here, you're just going to type in the search bar Spice, not the Spice Girls, just Spice Girls. We can put Spice Girls in if you want. Let's not. And we're going to look for some spice images that we might suit the bottom part of that page. I used that one before, so let's use that. You click on it, click insert, and that image will appear here. Now if I'm just going to come out of my footer for a minute by just double clicking in the main body of the page, as you can see that image, because it's in our footer, will appear on every page, which is brilliant. It's fantastic. It saves so much work. We're just basically all we're doing is creating one page and it's just duplicating it across the rest of the pages. Now what we want to do really is reduce that down, because we want our text to be in here. We just want this to be like a little kind of I don't know, a little kind of nod to the type of things that we're going to be showing in our menu. We don't want it to feature it centrally to our document. So if we go to our footer here, and this is on page 2, if we click this button here, which is a crop, we're going to crop this image down so it's a little bit shorter. Okay, we're going to move the image a little bit by pressing the up and down arrows to get it into position. Might crop it a little bit more, and then once we're happy we can press enter, and that's crop that image down. If we want to go back and like actually adjust it again, we can go back. It saves that image as a whole and it's just cropping out the bit that you want. So that's what we're doing there. Right, let's say we want that image to kind of bleed over the page. What we want to do is we make it roughly to the right size, and then these options come up underneath the image here. So we've got inline, if you've got the text, for the text to wrap around the image. We really want it behind the text or in front of the text. So I'm going to put it behind the text, and that will allow us to position this with a bit more freedom. And as you can see, because it's behind the text, page 2 appears quite nicely on there as well. I'm going to move it down a little bit more. I'm going to crop it just a touch more, and then I think that will look alright there. And if you look at the bottom of each page, it doesn't appear for some reason. Why not? Let's have a look. Cut that. It doesn't appear on the bottom of each page because I don't think, yeah, that's it. It wasn't actually in the footer. It was on the page itself. So the footer is a different section of that page. If I'm right now, what's happening here? Yeah, I've done the same thing again. Let's undo this. I'm going to go forward, redo it. Alright, okay, so there's our footer there. So it needs to fit into this section of that. This section here, it needs to fit into, because if you go outside that, it thinks you want to put this image in the main body of the document, which we don't. We want to put it in the footer, and that's what it's given us that space for. So we might need to make our text a little bit smaller. Right, happy days. We're going to keep it like that. And as you can see now, it's appeared at the bottom of each page. That looks alright. Okay, so we've got a bit more. We've got a bit of visual imagery on there. We've got our header with our title, looking quite professional, and we have our page numbers. Right, just looking at the time, I'm getting a bit myself carried away now. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to have a little break for 10 minutes. I'm going to have a quick look online to see if we can find any restaurant menus out there. You guys have a look as well, see if you can get some creative ideas from a 10-minute internet search, and see if we can find some images that we can use as inspiration to jazz this document up. After the break, we're going to come back. We're going to work our way through our little checklist today. We're going to create a table of contents. Why would you want a table of contents if you're looking at a menu when you're sitting down having your dinner in a restaurant? Well, let's say, for example, you create a digital menu and you want somebody, you're making that available online. It might allow people to navigate around through your menu with a little bit more ease. So we're going to try and do that as well. And then we'll look at some of the other cool features. I definitely want to show you these two things as well as a priority when we come back, because I think these two options are really, really cool. All right, so let's have a break. It's now 6 minutes past. It's come back a quarter past or 16 minutes past. And we'll pick up and hopefully we'll get the end of this document today. We'll create some columns like this one. We'll copy a bit of information from our spreadsheet into there so we can update and amend our menu. But the things I've just showed you recently, as you can see, it's easily changed. If you've got a new menu that comes out the following year, you can change the background color and change the prices, and you could do that within 5 minutes, and it will give you menu a new lease of life. So, it doesn't need to be a menu; it could be anything. So these things I'm showing you really drastically, and dramatically in one word, help you change a document very, very quickly and easily. All right, so let's come back quarter past. We'll have a little 10-minute break now. All right, guys, thanks very much. Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the second half of our Google intro into Google Documents session 1. Okay, so before the break we had an in-depth look into Google Documents and where it sits within the Google suite. Some links between the two, or between some of those software packages, and what we are doing is trying to use Google Documents to create our own restaurant menu, okay, to try and create a professional document with a few little bits in there that kind of make the document stand out and make it look quite quite professional and quite advanced. Okay, this is what the document looks like at the minute. We created some headings and titles using our preset options here. We've amended our presets by changing the color and updating that in our list. We have changed the background color of the page. That we only need to do that once, and it changes the entire document. We've looked at headers and footers. So a header is the top part of the document where we've created a heading in there, and that appears on all of the pages. And then we created a footer as well where we put our page number and we put a bit of imagery here that we sourced from Google Images. Okay, so that's where we're at. What we want to try and do, if you look at our presentation for today, is we want to look at putting in table of contents. We've talked about format, so I'll check that off for now. I want to create a table of contents once we've added a bit more information to our menu. I want to show you word count quickly now, because I've created a little document on our break there just to demonstrate that. Voice typing, I'll try and do that now actually as well, and then we'll move back into creating our document from here. This is where we are at the minute, and this is one I made a little bit earlier this morning, and we're going to add a table in there. I'm going to show you the difference between adding a table in Google Documents and linking a table from Google Sheets. And we're going to put organize a page into columns as well to create this nice looking professional menu or document. Okay, now as you can see, a letter or kind of essay might look a little bit more simpler than this, but if you've got some of the tools in your toolbox to be able to produce something like this, then an essay would be so much easier. Now I'm going to sneeze, guys, but just bear with me a minute. It's gone, but it might come back. Right, so in the break I created this quick document, and it's 33 pages long, and all I did was I found this website and I just typed in Google. Let's see what my internet search was again. Filler text English. Okay, I went onto this website, and this is quite useful for you graphic designers or anybody who's creating a document but you don't have the text to hand at the minute. There's this generator here, so you can you can use, there's a Latin words here, or this is quite common in dummy text, or you can use English words. I've never used the English set words before, so let's tick that and see what comes up. You can change how many numbers how many words you want in there, and how many paragraphs, etc., etc. You can generate your text, and there you go. There's a load of text there that you can copy and paste into your document. Okay, now I wouldn't submit this as your assignment submission, because it's a load of gobbledygook, and unless your lecturer is Latin, probably not going to make any sense to them whatsoever, and it's probably not going to be a subject that you want. It's just filler text, but it does serve a purpose when you're creating a document, just as to have placeholder text is what they call it. But anyway, without any more waffling on, I'm just going to show you how to do a word count in your document. So if you go to Tools, and is it Tools? Yes, there it is. Second one down, word count. Click on that. There it goes. There you go. It tells you a brief summary of your document. 33 pages long. 2,096 words in there, and blah blah blah, etc. etc. Right? Okay. So let's say the document needed to be 20,000 words instead of the 6. Then you can start editing your document down accordingly. All right. So very very easy. And if you've got a bit of text, for example, when you might be filling in an application form or something like that, and it might limit your entry for each section, you might find it useful, and I have in the past, to create your own Google Documents document and put all of your answers to that application in that document. Then you'll have a central document that you can reuse time and time again and tweak accordingly for each, say, job application, for example. But then you don't need to recreate an application from scratch each time. And what you can do with that as well is you can select sections of your application, so you can have the entire application in there. And let's say this is an answer to one particular question in the application. You can select it, go to Tools, go to Word Count, and it'll give you the total number of words that you've selected out of however many in the actual document. Okay. Oh, I've never used this before, but let's tick this and see what happens. Display word count while typing. Let's see what happens there. Right, so this basically is, yeah, it's just a quick button there. If you click on it, it'll just a little, maybe a split second quicker to have that there, instead of going to Tools and Word Count, or using here on the right hand side, you've got the shortcut. Anyway, that's your word count, right? As promised. What else I want to quickly show you is where is it now? Voice typing. Let's have a quick look, see if I can find something. 11 warm stories from your childhood. Let's have a look at this. I'm going to see if I can read something out. Right, I'm just going to make it up. I can't be bothered to read all this. Right. So let's create a new document now. I'll select all that, get rid of it all. We're back on page 1. Let's use this feature for a quick second and see if I can demonstrate this voice typing. So what happens here is you click on Tools, click on Voice Typing, and then you click this little microphone that appears on the left hand side. You can move it around your document, but you can click there to speak, and what will happen is it will listen to what you're talking about and write accordingly here. So let's give it a go. Okay. It's now prompted me, my computer is now prompting me, or actual Google Chrome is prompting me to use my microphone and allow it or block it. Now obviously if you're speaking, you'll need to allow the microphone of your computer to be enabled for you to for it to listen to you. So I'm going to click allow, and I'm going to start talking. This is a really good feature for people who like to write their stories in a book, in a handwritten book, and read it out aloud with a nice cup of tea, and allow Google Documents to type for them. Full stop. Okay, so, and I'm now going to start talking. This is right. Okay, so as you can see, this gets the bulk of the text in, but it will require some editing. So let's quickly read through this last first couple of lines. I'm now going to start talking. Full stop. So as you could see at the end of that passage, I had to say full stop, so I should have said that there. And then it suggests me to change my grammar to a capital T. This is a really good feature for people who like to write there. As you can see, that's not bang on, but you can just go around and make that spelling change. The stories in a book, maybe comma, and if I said comma, I would guess that it would put that punctuation in there. In a handwritten book, and read out aloud with a nice cup of tea. T and A allow Google Documents to type for them. T, and that was probably and. Now, for 3 lines, yes, it's probably easier for you to write this down. If you were speedy on the old computer keyboard, it might be quicker for some of you guys to just write. But for those of you who don't want to write, can't write, or type on the computer, or have a lot of text to get inputted into the computer, this might be a really, really good way of getting that bulk in. It might give you a bit of variation as well, guys. You know, a lot of us are using computers nowadays, and we're sitting at a screen. We are sitting slouched over our computers, whereas this option might allow you to maybe walk around your room if you because your microphone will be able to pick out your voice. Look out of a window, look out of your conservatory window or something like that. You know, watching the world go by while you're writing or narrating your story. Also, you might have a story up there in your head that you haven't written down, and you might just want to write your ideas down on a piece of paper, and you could just verbalize that instead of type. So, cracking feature, and I've never used it until I've done some research for this session today, but I think it's brilliant and very accessible for a number of different people. So there you go, there's that. Let's go back to our slideshow for a minute. Let's see. So I've done those now. I'll tick those off our list. So let's move this menu along a little bit, and then I want to try and add a few more pages to allow us to use a table or insert a table of contents to the document. So this is a document I made earlier. As you can see, it's got a header. It has some tables that I need to update and some columns. Okay, let's go to our current document. Let's add some headings now. Let's go to the first page. Not the first, but this is the cover page. Let's go to our first page. Start typing. Where are we? There we go. There we go. Heading. See. Remove that a minute. Let's put heading. Right. Okay. See what I've done here. I've changed the background color to purple, and the heading color is also purple, so we can't see what we're dealing with here. So let's change that back to white. Okay. We're going to update our heading 1, and there we go. It's back to white. That's great. I'm going to delete that for the time being. I'm going to delete that. So what do we have when we go to an Indian restaurant? Or when we go to any restaurant, we have 3 sections to our menus usually, don't we? Unless we go to a proper fancy one. So let's have a heading called starters. And that's heading 1. Okay, we can mess about with the font. Let's do that now, actually, because I didn't mention I was going to look at fonts during this session. So let's have a look. So if we want to edit our fonts, we just click where it says Arial here. And this is a type of font. If you click on that little arrow there, there's loads and loads and loads of different fonts that we can choose. Arial is one of the most common ones, but as you can see, when I was doing a bit of research while we had a little break, I was just looking at different menus and seeing what we could incorporate into our menu. Quite like that font there for this one. Let's see if we can find some nice text, because that looks a little bit boring to me. So let's see if we can maybe have a bit of a scrolly text or something like that. That might make it look a bit better. Now, as you can see, there's only a few different fonts here. If we go to add font, I think we can search for more fonts and add them to our list. Now let's see if we can find a nicer font that might be in line with kind of the type of menu that we're doing. I mean, that looks quite nice. Let's try that one. Okay, so there we go. We've got our starters. I'm going to get rid of that underline because it looks a bit too formal. That looks a little bit better in my opinion. And I'm going to update our heading now to incorporate that font. Just going to quickly jump into our chat here, make sure everyone's alright. Gary, how's it going? Nice to see you on the chat there. Gary, we're just creating a little online, menu using Google Documents. If you've got any suggestions on how we can improve that, give us a shout. So this is our heading. What we're going to do now is we're going to create some columns, right? To do that, we're inserting a column. So, like we inserted the image for our footer, we're going to insert a column, but we want the column to start underneath our heading. So if we go to insert, this is where I've shot myself in the foot because it's not under insert. I think it's format. That's right. So not insert. We're not inserting a column. We're formatting the text to fit columns. Okay. So my correction. And we're going to have 2 columns instead of the 3 that I previously done, because I think 3 is too much. So I'm going to click on the 2 columns button there. Let me just go back a minute, see if I still got some of that text. There, I'm going to just pinch some of this text just to demonstrate. And all I did there, guys, sorry, this document that we were using, our 33 or 32 page document, and then we edited it down, didn't we, to demonstrate word count and stuff like that. All I'm doing is I'm going to pinch some of this placeholder text so I can insert it into our current menu. And all I've done there is select it, right click copy, or the shortcut is Control and C. Going into the document on the next tab along, Control and V, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to paste it in. There you go. You can see that column there now. Now what happens is it brings it in grey, and as you can see in our presets, that normal text color is grey. Grey is not very visible, especially for people who are visually impaired. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that white as well, so that stands out. We're going to update our normal text, and there we go. That looks a lot better. We didn't change that So I'll change that to normal text again. There we go. Now let's have a quick look here. If I press paste again, Control and V, as you can see, it's bringing in the text that creeps over in that second column. Okay, I'm going to change that to normal text so you can see it. Oh, let's have a look. There we go, and there you go. There's your two columns. Now, two things that come to my mind at the minute, okay, is this still looks a little bit scraggly to me, and this is where I guess it comes down to your own personal taste. But when I think about a column, I think about two defined columns that end nicely at the end and begin nicely at the beginning, like it does there. And that is just your justification of your text. So can you remember when we went to okay, and I'll come back to what's happened here. We've put this into a column as well, which we don't want, but we'll figure that out in a bit. But when we did do this initially, we put this in the center of our document, didn't we? This is in the center of the column at the minute, not the document, but we'll figure that out in a minute. So if we go to our alignment, that is centrally aligned to the, no it's not, sorry, it's aligned to the left. So everything starts at the same point all the way down that line, all the way into this next column. We can have that centrally aligned, and as you can see, it's centrally aligned at that center of the column. And then it looks a bit jaggedy on each side. I think that looks a little bit better. But what I was looking to do was trying to change that so it's fully justified, and that's the kind of thing I was looking at. Okay, you can see different styles might you might want different different types of formatting, but I think that looks all right. But then again, it might look a bit more too formal for what you want. So it's down to personal taste. Anyway, so there's your two columns. Played around with our alignment. I'm going to remove this text because it was just to demonstrate that that column and how to insert the column. One quick thing which I just found out how to do when I'd done this page before we tuned in to today's session. Format columns, and if you click on more options, you have the spacing between the columns, and you can insert different numbers of columns, but also you can have a line in between the columns. So let's do that now. More options, line in between the columns, and then if I paste that text in, paste it in again, there's that line in the center. So this is what you probably typically see in a layout for a news article, a news paper, or magazine, or something like that. That central line going down. All right, just going to undo, Control and Z, or click undo, which is that button there, or edit, undo, which is that button there. And I'm going to go back a couple of times just to create that blank space again. Okay, so you can have your central line in there. You don't need to draw the line. You can just click that option in format, columns, more options there. Right, let's fast forward a little bit. So what I did promise in today's session was to link our Google Sheets, which again there will be more information and a session more dedicated to Google Sheets. A little bit. I think it's actually next week. Let's have a quick look. When did I say I was going to do that? Yeah, Google Sheets is going to be next week. But I want to just touch on it today because where are we at now? Just going to touch on it today or now because I want to link a spreadsheet in with our document, right? And I've explained why that's quite useful. You can maybe make all your edits to the to your menu prices here, and it would update in your document. So that's obviously really, really powerful. So how do you do that then? Right, we need to come out of this for a start. We create a new document in our Google Drive area. So if you click on the tab, the little Google Drive symbol, which is this little coloured triangle, you'll come on this tab. It'll look a little bit like that. Excuse me, bear with me 1 minute. I'll get some water. Sorry about that, I'm a bit of a dry throat there. Okay, so if we click on new, go to Google Sheets, blank spreadsheet, that's what we're going to do. Okay, and I'm going to go into all this, well, not all of it, because I don't know all of it. I might know about 20% of it if you're lucky, but I know enough to get myself by. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to explain the ins and outs of it because that's not what today's session is all about, but I'm going to create a little price list here. Okay, so we're going to have a starter. That's going to be the title of this this list down here. This is one of the sheets within this document, and I'm going to call this starters as well. I'm going to change that to starters, and I'm going to just say starter 1. Copy that, paste that down there, change that to 2, change that to 3, 4, 5, etc, etc. Okay, so let's say you've got any barges, for example. They might be, I don't know, £5.50. You might have, I don't know, samosas, that might be £4.75, whatever. You might have, I don't know, I'm just going to make this up as I go along now. You might have something that is a sharing plat starter, which might be £10.99. You might have some naan breads or poppadoms, that might be £2.50. And you might have whatever else, some kebabs, that might be £7.50. You might have some dips, which might be, I don't know, £2 each for selection. Okay, so that's your prices, and that's your different starters. As you can see, the numbers aren't formatted correctly, and again, I'm going to talk to you this in a bit more detail in the following weeks. But for this, all we need to do is click on that column, change the format to British pounds, and then that'll format that nicely for us. Alright, so that's all we need to worry about today. Create a little table headed with the title starters. It's got a starter down there as the tab for this entire sheet. We've got different starters, 1, 2, 3, 6, and then for each starter you're going to have a price. Starter 2 is £4.75, starter 3 £10.99, blah blah blah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to select all this. I'm going to click Control and C to copy, or if you go to Edit and Copy, you can do the same thing there. And then if we go into our menu, and we're going to right click in this space, and we're going to paste without formatting, because the formatting is going to be carried across from sheets, and we don't want that. We just want the actual text. Let's see if what that does. Now my idea was correct, but technically it was wrong. So it's brought across the text which we wanted stripped out without any kind of fonts and everything else. But by doing that, I was wrong, because we need to bring it in with the formatting, because the formatting brings it in as the table. So we've already clicked Control and C, I've already copied it. So we're going to need to bring it in and just paste it in, and then you come up with this little window here. Alright, so this window is the paste window, and it gives you two options. We want a it gives us the option to link the spreadsheet, link to the spreadsheet that we've come from there, or we can have it unlinked. Now we need it linked so that if we update the prices, which we will do to demonstrate it works, the prices in the spreadsheet, if we amend that, we want the prices to amend in our document, and that's why we need it linked. If you don't want it linked, I can't think of an example why you'd want it linked, unlinked. If you can think of a reason and you're listening now, give us a shout, because I can't really think of any, but I'm sure there is, because that's why the option is there. And then you've got that learn more section. Let's have a quick look at that, because I don't know what this is. Right, okay, that's brilliant. This brings you to Google's help and support. So if you've got any queries or questions, we'll probably be able to find some answers there. Okay, so we're going to link it for this example. And as you can see, it's brought in the table and it's brought in the format of that text, which I didn't want, but I did want to bring in the table, but I didn't want to bring in the formatting of the text. Well, that's absolutely fine, because we can sort that out here. So what I want to do is I want to select all this. I'm going to change this to normal text. It's very difficult to see here, guys, because I've changed all this to white. Okay, and that's what we want it to be in our presets, but you can't see it in the bar here because the background is also white, but it is there. I can see it. If you click normal text, that is going to change the text format to normal text. And then what I want to do is I want to get rid of this nasty looking table. So I'm going to not get rid of it, but I'm going to hide the color if I can. No, I am going to get rid of it. I can. So let me show you. I've selected the table. I've clicked on more options here, which is more. If you ever using a computer, if you're ever using your tablet or your phone, more options is typically identified with 3 dots, and that can be in Google Documents. It could be settings on your phone. It could be a number of different things. It's generally standardized. So if you want more, it's like if you were writing a text message and you put ... it means there's more to come, kind of thing. So if you click on that more, you get these options here, right? I'm not going to talk you through all of them, but these are the options for this table. You've got your different color options here. You've got the background options, and we want that set of transparent, and we don't want any lines in there. Okay, the line at the minute is set to 0.75. We want 0. We don't want any lines in there. And as you can see now, there's no lines in that document. Well, there's a line at the top, and I'm not too sure what. I think that's just to signify the table, but everything else is. There you go, that line's gone. I just didn't select the top part of that table. But there, if we zoom in a little bit, so you can see, unable to load the file. So, okay, let's try and reload it. There we go. There's our price list, and then there's our starters. And there's our prices there. Don't like that because I'm a little bit of a bit finicky with my designs, I guess. So what I'm going to do is justify that to the left, and then it's nice and neat there, nice and neat there. Okay, that looks all right to me. So why is this so important? Why have I created a link to my spreadsheet instead of just creating a table? And that's, note to self, that's something I'm going to show you next. Well, the reason is, what I want to do is make life easier for ourselves. Once we've created this document, in the forthcoming years of this makeshift restaurant, we want to make it easier for us to amend this document and update it to maybe winter 2021 or 2022's menu, something like that. And to do that, it's going to be so easy, and I'm going to show you maybe 3 different options that will give this whole menu a a new lease of life very easily, without any without going in and having to change so many different elements to the document. So linking it to the spreadsheet is really important because it allows us to change the price. Say for example, we're not selling too much of these, so we want to incentivize people and we're going to sell them for £1 instead. We actually don't sell these anymore because our supplier can't get hold of them, so we're going to delete starter 6. And then our feedback from our customers say that this they're getting a lot more food for they're getting a lot more food in that dish as a sharing platter, and we're gonna they would prefer a smaller individual portion. So we're going to reduce this size down to the price to reflect the size, and we're going to give that to let's say £6. Okay, so we've made a few changes here to our starter. Remember at the beginning of this session, guys, I said you don't need to make any changes because it automatically don't need to make any saves because it automatically saves, and that little arrow there tells you that it's been saved. It's got a little tick there. We go back into our document. You can see now it's got this little prompt, and it's got this little update prompt. You click on that. These are all changed now, haven't they? Well, not all of them, but the ones that we've changed. So we've got rid of starter 6, we've updated starter 3, and we've updated the price of starter 1. Look how handy that is. So you can imagine if you've got a 6-page menu and you're making all these changes to your prices, all that is going to be updated by clicking update on those different tables. So that is absolutely brilliant, and I've never really done that before, and when I came across it last week, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Right, let's say we wanted if we can insert a table from Google Sheets, why would we want to insert a table? Well, there might be a reason to insert a table if we want to input our own information that doesn't need updating. Now, tables are quite useful in Google Documents for kind of controlling and confining the layout of a text. So, for example, let's say we want to, let's say this is now a flyer and not a menu in a restaurant, but let's say it's a takeaway flyer for this restaurant. Let's say we want to, I'm going to start a new page for a minute. I'm going to format that to one column for this page, and I'm going to insert a table. So to do that, it's insert table, and I want to put 2 rows, 3 columns. Okay, so it looks like this. Now, tables are really versatile. You can combine all these boxes in the table are called a cell, and if you can combine them together and play around with them, etc., etc. But if let's say you have 3 different locations for your restaurant, and you want them to go into different sections, okay, and you want a heading here, what you can do is you can combine these together and merge these. There should be a merge button somewhere. There you go. You select the cells that you want to merge. Merge just means combine. Click the merge button, and then that's one cell now. So all you need to do is really count how many cells you want in total, how many rows you want in total, and how many maximum amounts of columns you want, and then you can just play around with it from there. And then let's say we've got our locations. We want that centralized, for example, and we might have that there, which is a colon, I believe. or semicolon, don't know. Location 1, select that, put that in there, and then there, change that to 2, and change that to 3. I'm going to centralize that. There you go, right? Put that to normal text, centralize that, and then get rid of this nasty looking table to make it a bit more discreet. Remember, more options, get rid of our table, and there you go. You can move, you can have a bit more freedom, a bit more freedom, but a bit more definition to the format of your text. Okay, and that could be on the back page, for example. So that might be one reason why you would want to insert a table and not copy it from a Google Sheets document. All right. So there's our starters in there. We've got them in a column. We've got them in columns. What else did I want to show you? I think that's everything that I wanted to show you in terms of that layout of the menu. Then one thing I really wanted to show you was table of contents. We're going to have to do a recap next week because we've covered a lot of ground today in this session. But what I want to do is quickly try and show you table of contents before we break, and we'll have to pick it up. Well, break for this session, and we'll pick it up next Thursday. But I really want to show you this because I think this is really useful. So let's quickly go back to our document. I'm going to insert a new chart. We haven't done charts, so I'm going to highlight that for a minute, and we'll cover that next week. Headers and footers we've done. Breaks, I'm going to show you that now. So breaks is just a break in that document. Okay, so when we say a break, here for example, I want to break this page up into another page. So where my icon is flashing, I'll click insert, click on break, page break, and that will create a new page there. In between that page and that one, it will create a new page in the middle. Alright, so that's what a break is all about. Why is my text doing that? There, because it's centralized, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to quickly start this. We've got mains, and we're going to create another break. I'm going to dessert. I'm going to remember give it the same heading as the other headings. It's the wrong one. That one. It's very difficult to see when you put it white. So you've got starter, mains, and dessert. And what I'll also do quickly is on this here. Now I'll create another break quickly. As you can see, guys, we've put a lot of effort. This is two hours this session, so it's took us 2 hours to make this, which I think we've come a long way from a blank document, and this is from scratch as well. So this is really, really good. But the great thing about it is it automatically saves every time we do something, so we're not at threat of losing our work. Now, if you wanted to download it after the end of the session, I'll show you how to do that. But for the time being, we're going to insert a table of contents. So we're going to do that by clicking insert. If you go down to the bottom, I've only done this once before, so I'm hoping I've got it all sorted, which I seem to have. Yeah, that's great. So there you go. All you need to do is go insert table of contents, and you've got two options, and I've picked the first option, okay, with page numbers. Now this is for if you want to print this document out. If you want to print this document out, it automatically finds out from your titles, and that's why presets are so important, from your headings in your presets, what page each heading is on, and it compiles it into an automatic table of contents. Now, I've tried to do these myself in the past, and it's an absolute nightmare if you've got a massive document, because you have to keep on editing it. However, if I want to, if you can see, starters is on page 3. If I want to insert another page in my table of contents, I have created a title here, so table of. We're just going to go over slightly today, guys, because I'm getting excited about this table of contents, and I thought I'd really want to show you before we finish for the day. So we'll probably go on for another 10 minutes, all right? Just slightly over today. Put a heading on there. It's starting to look quite professional, this now, isn't it? It's got table of contents, you've got your different pages, and there's your page numbers. And our table of contents is on page 2. Starters is on page 3. If I insert a page between 2 and 3, look what's going to happen here. Insert break page. So now page 3 is a blank page. Starters is on page 4. Now if we go back up to the table of contents, click the update table of contents, it's sorted it all out for you. Perfect, isn't it? Really, really good. Okay, so that's that. The other option, the one last thing I want to show you before we have a quick recap, is the other option for table of contents. If you go down to insert, click the second option with blue links. This is more suitable for digital documents. Now, the text itself isn't the best because it's blue, because most linkable text is blue, but you can change that quite easily by clicking the color button there, and I've chosen white because it goes with our document. Now, what happens here is, if you click insert, for example, and then click the button, it'll take you to that part of the document. Now, we're only 8 pages into this document, but if we're 80 pages in, it shows you, it gives you that option to navigate very quickly through your document. Now, when you PDF this document, which we'll do now before we wrap up for the day, and when I say PDF, it's PDF, Portable Document Format, I think it stands for. If you click File and Download, you can download it in a number of different options. You can download it as a Microsoft Word document, open document format. What we would like to download it for, just to try and demonstrate this link, is PDF. It's going to download the document for us. I'm going to open it. If I click on that, can you see my cursor actually changes now to that part of the document? You see that there? So if I click on mains, it's going to take me to the mains, which is absolutely brilliant. And now I've just realized, actually, so does the other one as well. So I'm not too sure why there's 2 different options there. Maybe it's that what I think it is. I think it is, well, there's 2 things that's different. It still has the link, so it's suitable for a digital document, but I guess this is suitable for both digital document and for print because it's got the text there. But also the format of the text is different because it's got the actual underline, which signifies there's a link. Okay, so both options are appropriate, but what I would probably do moving forward was I would just choose the first option because it has that link embedded in it anyway. So there's 2 options for you. So as a quick summary, guys, we've got about 10 minutes left. Well, 5 minutes left, sorry. What have we done today? We've created a document in Google Docs, and our task was to create a menu for an Indian restaurant, and we wanted to create a document that was easily editable for future menus years down the line. So to demonstrate that, what we did was we changed the background color, we changed the presets for the text, we inserted headers, and footers. Headers being the top part of the image here, which is a common title that repeats throughout the document, and a footer that again repeats throughout the document. We've got this nice little image here. We've got some numbering, page numbering going on there. We created some columns, and what is really cool with this document is we've created a link between our Google Sheets document and our Google document. So when we update our document here in our Google spreadsheet, it will automatically update here, which is absolutely brilliant. Now let's say we want to, it's 2021 now, okay, or 2022. We need to change our menu. All we need to do now is go to page setup. Let's say we're going to have a green menu for 2022. It's a bit too light, but you get the picture. There you go. Document is changed and it looks completely different, doesn't it? Let's say we want to change the heading style. Let's say the manager doesn't like that the heading anymore, that type of text, and they want a more modern type text. I'm going to change it to that. I'm going to get the heading and update that heading, and there you go. The headings have all changed. And can you see how quickly and easily it is to create a document like this? And this is quite an advanced document. It's not like an assignment document or anything like that, but if you're doing an assignment, it's quite easy to use your presets to change the look and feel of your document. If you're a graphic design agency, for example, you could use this same process to use a template and modify your menu, for example. Let's say this is not an Indian restaurant anymore because I've changed it to green, and let's just call it, it could be an Italian restaurant, and then you could change that bottom image, and all that hard work, it can be tweaked within a couple of clicks, and you've got a completely new document with the same format and all the links embedded in there, okay, for your table of contents and everything else. So I think we've covered a lot of ground today. I was quite worried that a session on Google Docs was going to be a bit dry. It's been a bit dry in my throat because I haven't stopped talking, but I think I've highlighted some of the key features to Google Documents. We've covered the table of contents, which I'll just tick off now. Document outline, we'll look at that next week because I put that in there and I can't remember why, so I'm going to highlight that for next week. But I think we've covered it quite a lot this session. So what I'd like you to do now, guys, is I'm just going to quickly refer you back to our session forms. If you've got any feedback, please put it in our survey. Takes very little time to fill in that survey, and we really appreciate your feedback so we can develop our sessions for future. And our enrollment form, guys, really key. We're delivering these sessions on behalf of the community lottery community fund, which is where we get our funding for these sessions, and we need these enrollment forms to be able to demonstrate that we are putting these sessions on and you are engaging with them. All right, so that's fantastic. You fill that in. It doesn't take very long at all. One last thing I would like to show you before we finish for today is some signposting. I'm going to make this document available for you on our YouTube page, and there's just some little links there to some further learning. So we've got Google Drive cheat sheets there. If we have a quick look at that, I'll quickly show you. It's just different hints and tips on how to use Google Drive and some of the key things that help you navigate around Google Drive. we've got we've got a good comparison there for those of you who are still none of the wiser what the difference is between Google Docs and Microsoft Word. Basically, the one and the well, they're not the same. They're provided by two different providers and makers, but they offer the same word processing facility. Okay, and there's a comparison guide provided by Google there if you want a bit more information. And also we've got a beginner's guide on YouTube which I've accessed that gives you a little overview on Google Drive just to embed some of your learning, guys. Okay, guys, so that's what we got there for today. Run over a little bit, so I do apologise. But I just got a little bit excited when I saw table of contents and I needed to cram that in and show you before we finished for today. I'll go over a few of the more complex things that we covered in today's session next Thursday, and anything else that you want me to go over, please just shout, give us a little message on our social media channels or through our live chat. Okay, but that's it for today's session. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend and hopefully get out and enjoy some fresh air and some sunshine. All right, guys, thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.